This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by Sonny Edwards here at the Steel City Gym in Sheffield. Sonny, I've just spoken to the other half of the Edwards brotherly loving, and now I'm speaking to yourself. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm great, in fact, actually. Thank you for asking.
No, so I've just got to touch up on that positive note there to start with. And as we sit here, you've both just shared an experience sparring for the first time in 2.5 years. I don't know why you're flexing your pecs there, Sonny. It's halfway for me. I might have to cut in a bit on that. What's your what's your take there on the round you've just shared with your brother?
Yeah, great rounds, great work. Great way to keep in shape.
More difficult, more or easier than what you might have imagined beforehand?
No, Charlie's always been great work. He's, the reason I'm so good today. My in-house sparring partner since I was knee-high. So, yeah, my brother's always been a good fighter. I feel like when he's switched on mentally and he's motivated and he's got his heart in it, then he's one of the best in the world. He's shown that, being a former world champion, and if he continues the mindset he's got right now, I feel he'll achieve it again.
Obviously, he's mentioned and you've spoken about how he's coming to help you with that Bam Rodriguez fight. What similarities or what can Charlie bring in terms of preparations for Bam?
Charlie's very fast. He can make you work very hard as well. He's good with his range, and he's always working at a good tempo. Even when he's slowing and picking his movements, when his hands come out, they always come out very fast. They go from his shoulder to the target in lightning speed, similar to Bam's. I've got a good few different looks I'm getting from different sparring partners, but if truth be told, I don't really focus too much on my opponent. I focus on me. I need good rounds where after 12 rounds my heart's beating quite a lot. Even how I sparred today probably won't be how I I fight on the night. That's work for me right there. Practice on things, practice on shots, working on things, and get my engine up, So, great work.
Yes, and there was a few things which I saw, which I don't know if it was intentional or not, but I'm not going to bring that up because what happens in sparring will stay in sparring. But just with the fight in mind, how is camp going now? You're what, about 8 weeks or so away?
Yeah, just under. Yeah, age is too long. If you ask
Does it feel weird because the fight was announced 14 weeks before fight night? Usually, even a fight of this magnitude, the way that boxing is at the minute, you might get 8 to 10 weeks notice. You've had 14, if not longer.
Yeah, and I'll be real, it's a bit not ideal really, because I feel like it's hard to stay so excited for so long. But look, it is what it is. I don't care when a fight is. I don't care how long it is. I'm always kind of ready to go. I'm always sparring. I'm always a fighter all year round. So, yeah, they needed last weekend of the year available. So that's what they got. I wasn't trying to make the fight any harder for them. If it was up to me, the Campos fight wouldn't have happened. That would have been Bam. That's what we was ready for. Me signing, going straight into it. His jaw broke, so we had to get a fight in the meanwhile. And then, if it was up to me, I would have fought probably already by now, maybe now. If it was up to me from Campos, I didn't need all this time. I've been ready to go the whole time. I've sparred probably 20, 30 rounds most weeks. Take away about 3 or 4 since my last fight. I'm ready to go. Boxing is the only thing that's been on my mind, really. I've been really switched on for this fight. I know maybe people keep telling me that I might need the best version of me to beat this guy. I don't know if he is the best person I've been in the ring with. I think there might be a couple better that I've been in the ring with, but, profile-wise, publicity-wise, this is the guy. So, yeah, we prepare diligently and meticulously, and what other cliches do I know? We leave no stone unturned when preparing for this fight. So I'm excited, genuinely excited. For the whole process, I feel like it's never been so easy to eat better. It's never been so easy to get up in the morning and come and train, and my body feels like it's coming all together at the right time. I think probably about 75-80% of my career I've been getting in the ring with some problem area around my body, and I just don't care, because once adrenaline gets in, I'm there now and I don't feel it nowhere near as much. So I haven't had the luxury to ever turn down fights, but right now, I feel like in a really good place, a really strong place. A really strong place.
When you two came face to face out in Florida, obviously Bam wasn't the most talkative, shall we say. I think he left the lion's share of the talking to yourself. Does that frustrate you at all when you head into such a mega fight, but maybe you don't have a little bit more to go off a little bit to be able to have that back and forth?
No, but not really. Like, don't get me wrong, it'll be much more entertaining. It'll be much more of a spectacle for the fans. The fight would probably get 10 times bigger overnight if there was something to go back and forth on. Doesn't frustrate me. I don't need to get in anyone's head. But I think there's very rarely going to be a fighter in my career, no matter how good they actually are, that is going to be willing to engage in the back and forth, let's make each other look a bit silly contest. You know what I mean? That's all it is, really. It's poking holes at people's egos. And I don't know, I've done a good job at attaching myself for a lot of things with my ego and boxing a long time ago. So it's very hard to get me. Like, I can go back and forth with anyone and I'm ready to. But if they're not, I'm not a bully, so I won't just start slaughtering someone that's saying nothing but half the right things, you know what I mean? So I'll relish the day that it does come, though. Let me tell you that, because I'll double down.
Sonny, when Bam fights, he gains more recognition from when he faces somebody who's a bit more aggressive. He kind of produces a better performance when he has someone coming towards him. You're not necessarily known for that, although in more recent fights you've certainly started to kind of plant your feet a little bit more, as the saying goes. How do you go about kind of defeating Bam Rodriguez without giving away your game plan? Is that something which you've thought about, how Bam does look better against those fighters who do come towards him?
Yeah, and like I've said it so many times, people don't believe me, but first round knockout. Then we ain't really got to think about the other 11. In and out. You know what I mean?
So Charlie said that he isn't ever going to lose any money betting on you. So if he puts his house on first round knockout, he's doubling up.
First round knockout, baby.
What different do we see from you come fight night?
Different gloves. Different shorts. Maybe even different boots.
You mentioned you don't feel like Bam's potentially not the toughest fight in your career yet. Who would you say is at least on, say, a level footing that you've shared the ring with?
I genuinely think Mavriti would have punched his head in.
Why is that?
I could sit here and try and convince people, but I don't care to. But I just promise you, there's different levels in boxing. And some levels get confused by a method of victory, of how it actually plays out, and a bit of more publicity, you know what I mean?
Even though you've said first round knockout, Sonny, the general consensus is that it might go to the distance if you're to be successful. If that was to happen, do you have any concerns on the scoring?
I mean, if it goes to the scorecards, I think I'll be the most surprised man in the venue. You know what I mean? I can't see him making it out the first 3 minutes. I feel like, I mean, an element of surprise. Do you know what I mean? It's like, just because I don't mean I can't.
On the weight front, what did you make of Bam when you came face to face? Because he certainly looked like he's got kind of to get down to the weight limit.
He works with that Victor Conte, you know? Spac Nation. Snack Nation. The boxing version, Snack Nation. So, yeah, I don't think he'll have any struggle getting to weight, rehydrating. I don't think he'll struggle at any part. He shouldn't get injuries, really, with Victor Conte working with him. So, yeah, and I'm glad he's working with someone like that. So at least there should be no excuses. And if with all the things we know about Victor Conte, even remotely a percent true, then he should have no stress, being healthy, fit, ready, vitamins up, no flus, no illnesses, no injuries, like, because he's got the proven best technology available, and maybe otherwise, to boxers. So I'm glad. I want the best, fam. I see he probably lost about 5 kilos from when he left London to 2 weeks later when he was posting videos. So great news. I don't want no excuses. I want the best, fam.
Roman Gonzalez has accepted your challenge over social media. You come through, bam. It's going to happen. Yourself versus Chocolatito.
Yeah, well, he's agreed to the fight. He said the UK, Eddie Hearn's agreed privately that a great effort will be made to make this and bring this fight to the UK. You know, after going to beat Bam and, you know, beat Taken Jr., then I want the old man.
You beat Bam, you beat Chocolatito. I think many people would then consider you've always been kind of a top 3 in the UK fighters, probably would put you as number 1. But where does the career of Sonny Edwards go beyond that? Because your legacy is there to be built on even more so.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know. If I beat Bam, unified, let everyone know I was the number 1, and then I went up and dethroned the legend, maybe, I don't know. Maybe that would be enough. Maybe that would be enough to sail off into the sunset. You know what I mean? Who knows?
You ever thought about that, maybe in early retirement?
Depends, man. I don't know if boxing deserves me to my old years. I used to think it did, but now I'm not sure.
I want to also bring up Galal Yafai, just because I've obviously on the back of his victory in Birmingham. No, it's not that, because I'm no. I bring. Listen, you guys have shared a ring in sparring, so I know that he's helped you in the past. It's obviously a fight which has been spoken about between you two previously, but I want to get your thoughts on him potentially facing somebody like a Cuadras or a Rungvisai, because on the back of his win against Tommy Frank, Eddie Hearn mentioned that maybe that might be a correct next step for Galal Yafai.
Do you really think Galal Yafai is now getting in the ring with, who did you mention?
Cuadras and Rungvisai. I don't expect it to happen, but how far off do you feel he's from, say, one of those guys?
Definitely not his next fight. Maybe though. Galal's a hell of a fighter. I just don't see it happening. Like, there's certain fighters I know they wouldn't put him anywhere near. It's obvious. Like, we don't have to start picking out the ones. Oh yeah, just stay away from that one. Stay away from that one. You don't like. He's a very good fighter. I think they'll get him here the right way. The Tommy Frank was good to look sort of destructive against a fighter maybe I was sort of talked about at one point with. I don't know if anyone picked up on that really, because it wasn't much of a storyline. But yeah, look, Galal is he's a good guy as well, and he's a good fighter, a hell of a fighter really. And I do wish him nothing but the best until he gets in the ring with me. And I'm sure he's the same with me. I need the dance partner. I need him, the UK one. I haven't had really that yet coming through, and Galal's that guy. How easy is it to sell a world champion versus Olympic champion? We boxed in the amateurs, I won, and he was the favourite because, Rob McCracken was the head of GB, and Rob McCracken 5, 6, 7 years later is his professional trainer. So it's not really hard to connect the dots of why it would be such a satisfying fight for me. Obviously, he was heavily favoured, even though I beat him that same year as an amateur, and I felt like it's no secret why. So, yeah, I'm ready for that fight whenever. But I hope he gets to me in as dangerous and as, you know, hype state as possible, just like kind of Bam is now. I could have probably done with Bam 2 fights ago, before he went and looked ordinary twice.
How far off do you feel like a potential Galal Yafai fight might be then?
Whenever they pick up the phone, Eddie knows it's whenever he wants it, because I'm ready for that fight. I'm ready for anyone in the world. I'm the standard right now. They're sparring and getting ready and doing their fights to get ready for my standard right now. Let's be real. I've been setting it. I've been having the fights. I'm going to beat Bam and really prove it. Everyone that comes in the gym and comes in the ring with me, they sees it. You know what I mean? Everyone close sees the real level. And I've got levels to go through yet in the boxing ring. I just, you know, like I said, I don't think the boxing world deserves all of me all of the time. I'll have it when I can be ready to give it. Like sparring, my work, I give everything to it. As you've seen today, Andy, it's very different what you was alluding to. Look at me, sweaty little cunt, man.
Sonny, to bring your brother back into it and to keep with the Yafai theme, obviously a lot of people have spoken about Charlie and Kal Yafai potentially facing off at some point. Charlie just spoke to me about how an offer was on the table, never quite got over the line. Now we're seeing Kal Yafai return the week after a potential date that they could have had in Newcastle. What are your thoughts on that entire scenario, and if we will ever see Charlie Edwards and Kal Yafai cross paths?
Well, it's on Cal. Cal pervasively refused to fight all them years ago. Then when Charlie was a world champion, refused to fight. When he wasn't a world champion, refused to fight. Years have gone past now. Charlie's back. And yeah, now maybe where I'm involved in the conversations anyway with the people that are, responsible for making these sort of fights. Now I'm under the promotional banner, and probably in a way that the Yafais, Kal Yafai never expected really. So yeah, now Cal's waking up multiple times in the same week to offers to fight Charlie Edwards and turning them down. Fact. And against the will and wishes of the promoter, let's call it for what it is, they wouldn't be making the fight with a non-matchroom fighter, yeah, and agree in terms of him and his side, yeah. They wouldn't be doing all of that if they didn't want the fight to happen. They even tried making it better as well. For Cal went back to try and make it. So they really wanted Cal to be in a reasonable fight where they could sell it, promote it, put on a schedule, a good fight, a good event. And instead he chose to go on probably, the weakest card so far in the DAZN, left, unfortunately, for me anyway. Might not be for someone else. The weakest card in the DAZN schedule left. On the undercard against someone that no one cares about, that has been dodging people over in his side of the world anyway, which I know. So, yeah, if you're a promoter and you want to be the world's best promoter and you want to have the world's best sports platform, what do you need? The world's best fights and the world's best events. And what kills it every time is a Kal Yafai or other. There's loads of people that are guilty of this, yeah? And the corner's changing right now. The people that are grinding out and being stubborn on the last contracts, I promise you, another contract won't ever come back the same way because the business has changed. I promise you, the business is changing because one thing promoters realise is they've let for far too long managers and boxers that aren't willing to take fights at a reasonable level. It's not about chucking people into the slaughter and deep end, because fighters usually take those. Fighters usually take the getting fed to slaughter because there's usually a lot of money that comes with it. Good fighter, get beaten and then it weren't too bad. Fighters usually take those ones if there's a good reward with it. It's the level on the way up. They think, I can't fight him because if I lose to him, where do I go from there? It's pride, it's ego, and it's killing boxing. Like, the reason why it's so easy for me to take all these fights and get involved in all the stories, because I'm ready to call anyone out that's worth fighting, and I'm ready to fight them, anyone that's worth fighting, as good as they are, as good as they've seen they are. It doesn't matter, because I want to be the best. I want to prove it. If someone makes me fall a setback, I won't put that all on myself and think, I'm finished, I'm a terrible fighter. It must simply mean, because of my experience of doing it over and over again for the last 17, 18 years, and boxing being relatively quite easy for me, doing it well within myself, doing things that blows even other boxers' minds constantly when they speak to me privately, doing boxing to that level, like, I know I'm a great fighter. So if someone has beaten me, they must be a fucking fantastic fighter. They must be excellent. They must be, like, I've already shown it. I've already gone in the ring and proved it to myself so many times. So I can take these fights and double down on myself and speak big of myself confidently because I genuinely believe it. And until someone's ready to show me, like, I want the Martinez's and the Bam Rodriguez's and then the Chocolatitos and even then onto the Inoue-Tapales. And I know it sounds mad, but whilst I've still got that, and even after that, I want to be involved in events people care about. That's it. Whether I'm the home guy, whether I'm the away guy, like, I want the biggest event that people care about, because with that comes the biggest success, the biggest rewards, the biggest everything. So that's what I chase. I don't care about confidence. I don't care about it'll be bigger next year and I'll be able to get a little bit more money for fighting that same. Nah, just line them up and give them all. Like, I swear to God, you'll see. I swear. Now I'm in the position where fighters can't really avoid the fight of me too much. Like, you'll see it. You'll see it. My career, win, lose or draw, I'll just keep bouncing into big fights, because if he's not a good fighter, I don't care. And I don't understand perceived risk. There's too many times people I've been getting in the ring with are meant to be this big, scary, knockout, 33, knockout, 80% of their... And then when I get in the ring with them, it's all different all of a sudden. So I find out about a fighter once I'm in the ring with them. And right now, I've got the confidence in me and the belief in my system that it goes flyweight, super flyweight, bantam, super bantam, featherweight. Right now, okay, maybe not the elitist of the feathers, super feathers, but I know I can get in there and mix it with anyone. Because what I do is different. I don't just go in there, your turn, my turn, rock 'em, sock 'em, robots, to one of our chingos up in the air. I just break people down, bust them up, box them, move, make them miss, make them look silly, get them frustrated, and win rounds. Always clear. Every time the final bell goes, there's no one arguing. Ever.
No, Inoue is an interesting one you mentioned there because he's obviously just had his undisputed bout with Tapales announced for Boxing Day, so we can all enjoy the leftover Christmas dinner. You might have 2 belts around your shoulders by then as well, and you can have some celebrations to tuck into. But just your thoughts on that undisputed bout between Inoue and Tapales?
Yeah, I mean, Tapales looked good on his last time out. I can't remember who he fought, but I remember he looked destructive. I watched it. But Inoue is fucking the elite. And this is what always confuses me, like, with like boxing fans or even boxers. They'll hear what I say and they'll just chalk me down to deluded, arrogant, or lying or chatting shit. Like, but if there's someone out there that I could fight an event could, and like, because I go up a lot heavier than what I box at. Like, I don't walk around flyweight. I'm probably like lightweight and super lightweight right now. Like, at least super feather. So I know I've got the weights in me, but why wouldn't I want to spend my whole life committed to one craft, one discipline of boxing? I've even beat people that beat him, and I know it's a different in a way, it was the amateurs, but like, how would you feel if you was me? Like, why wouldn't you think that at some point you can mix it with anyone? I'm a world champion, I'm ranked #1 in the world, I'm about to go in against the other considered best in the world, who's 2-weight world champion. I beat him, where's my confidence going then? Roman Gonzalez, I beat him, where's my confidence going then? I see this in my future. I see this for me. Whether other people believe me or not, like, we'll wait and see.
Seeing how passionately you speak about a potential fight there with Inoue, outside of Bam and Chocolatito, would you say he's the name, at least because of what he's accomplished, that gets your juices flowing the most?
Yeah, man, it's like Dragon Ball Z. Like, I'm just sat here hearing about other fighters, watching other fighters. You know, how many people think they're the best guy and no one can beat him. They're the ones I want. Like, because what happens when you go over somewhere, you do something you're not supposed to do, you blow everyone's minds. I'm not happy just sitting here, you know, fighting the easiest for the most money and ticking over. And like, boxing, it shouldn't be easy. It shouldn't. It should be the hardest thing in the world. It's an extreme sport, and for me it's been too easy for too long. I want the challenge. I want the best. I want to find my limit. Like, I don't think I'll go unbeaten in my career, just because I'll end up taking a fight that no one else ever in the history of the sport would. I'd go up like 4 or 5 weights and fight someone that and I probably would, because I narcissistically believe in myself that much when it comes to boxing. I really feel like I can do anything.
Do you think there's too much focus on the O in boxing?
Maybe, but I feel like it's a bit of both, really, because I feel like what happens is fighters get a lot of their confidence from the external feedback, like people extrinsically telling them how good they are and how special they are. And then when it starts dwindling, they probably carry that now doubt that's crept in through the change of the world receiving them. And they start taking that into sparring, and they start thinking, well, I might be finished. Or I know every time I've ever lost, I've come back, shed skin and come back better. I know that in the amateurs. I've not lost as a pro, but every time, like, uncannily lost, come back, boom, every time, like, on a different, like I evolved some which what, like, my mindset was different. I'm very good at hacking my mind, extremely good at, like, whatever I want to believe, I can really believe it. I can find the logic in it, the truth in it. I can really believe it, and all I know is, as long as I believe it, I will live like it is true until it's not. You know what I mean? And for usually in boxing, that seems long enough. 36 minutes, that seems long enough. So, yeah, I don't know why I wouldn't and why no one else would. And I get everyone else will think through their own, what they think they're capable of, or they're like the center point in the universe. I get it. But I wake up every day and my confidence couldn't be higher. So, yeah, you could put me in the ring with 2 opponents on the same night, and I reckon I could do some damage.
Sunday, December 16th, you head into what many consider to be the toughest test of your career so far. Just one thing which I haven't asked, I just wanted to bring back up is kind of yourself and Charlie, the relationship you guys have now. How good does it feel to know that he will be there, he'll be in your corner come December 16th, supporting you all the way?
Yeah, but he's been at most of my fights.
More so because obviously people have kind of questioned the relationship of you two over, say, this past year.
Yeah, but when the reality is, that in interviews, a couple times I got mentioned, didn't like that, so I replied something publicly, not gaining on stuff, there's a couple, but that was the main fallout. There weren't really no private fallout, there weren't really no run-ins, there weren't really no Charlie getting put in a headlock and noogie, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just, you know, sometimes you're a bit, like, it's petty, we're brothers, we're very competitive, so I even know the root of all of it, because I know, but it's a wrong phone call. It's a conversation with your brother. Like, anyone that don't understand it probably never had a brother. Anyone that's had one, and you're actually close enough to irritate each other, then of course, you know what I mean. You're different people, and you start not being able to get away with the stuff you could get away with each other with kids no more because you're adults, and that's all it is. And then, unfortunately, we live in a space where, you know, it might spill out into like a little public domain. Yeah, maybe that's a bit immature. Maybe it shouldn't have happened. Something I'm not too proud of personally, but something at the same time is like, is what it is. I've argued with everyone on the internet at some point.
Hopefully you never argue with me, because I don't fancy my chances in overcoming whatever you'd have to say there. But only a final message from yourself. December 16th, Bam Rodriguez. Other than a first round knockout, what would you say to him if this was the last time you two were going to speak?
I always find these parts really cringy and disingenuine.
You don't want to say it, we'll just move on and just leave it as it is.
No, I just feel like, you know, I haven't really got a message for him. I think his training needs to grow up though, man. Robert Garcia, like, the more I'm like having a little look and lens into him, he's a little girl, man.
What's Robert said?
Like, how long you got? Like, nothing, and things that he wouldn't even find bad, but if I just picked apart, like, his thought process, his mindsets, he just seems like a horrible person, I'll be real. Like, and he doesn't realise ways he's showing it because he thinks he's just being funny and that. Like, I don't know, man. Like, and all it is showing is, with Bam's reaction stood next to him, yeah, all it is showing is that Bam's a proper alright kid. And I bet he sees it sometimes. I bet you, like, Robert just seems a bit horrible. I could highlight one reason, but I'm not going to highlight it right now. I'm going to clarify at press conference times what he meant by a certain thing. And I bet you his towel goes up between his arse.
About you? Or?
Not about me, that's what's even funnier. Kind of about me, but not about me. A weird one, and it was from an interview, so I've got the sauce.
Well, it's intrigued me, Sonny, and I won't push you any more on that because I believe I've taken enough of your time. You're going to go and chill and enjoy the rest of your day. So thank you for having me up here at the gym. I'm sure I'll catch you either beforehand or out in Arizona, if Rob isn't there, that is. So thanks for speaking to me. I'll speak to you again soon.